Pastor King, if I could ask you a question about kind of being a pastor, what is your, I guess, experience on how to protect the flock? I guess how to be a good shepherd in that way.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there are a couple different things you, as a pastor, you try to keep in mind. One saying that's just coming to my mind is a home-going pastor makes a church-going people.
Okay.
That if you can get out and visit with the people, and some of the church members, I would, if their place of work were appropriate where I could stop in, I would do that. Try to make as many home visits as possible, seeing people in their element, seeing how they're doing, and legitimately asking them, how are you? Not as a casual conversation opener, but literally, hey, really, how's it going?
Hmm.
And if there was an issue or a problem in the past, to say, hey, did that ever work out okay? Are you over that? How are things? So I think the biggest thing for me was that I was privileged to minister at a church where I could know everybody.
Sure.
I'm not saying big churches are bad, and I'm not saying super small churches are good. I had kind of a moderately sized church where there'd be 80 or 90 people on a Sunday, a few hundred members of the congregation, and I pretty much knew everybody, and that was probably the best avenue for me to take care of them, protect them, was allowing them to feel comfortable enough with me that they would talk to me if they had a problem.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest compliment a pastor can get, as far as I'm
Right.
concerned, is that someone comes to you with a problem. They're showing they trust you. They're showing they want your advice. They respect your advice.
Right.
That to me, when that happened, then it was like, okay, this is working. This is what it's supposed to be.
Mm.
Keeping the lines of communication open with individuals is one very, very important way to safeguard the flock. The other, of course, is to preach well and give them Christ.
Mm.
You know, give them that forgiveness. Proclaim that they are forgiven. Tell them they're forgiven. Remind them they're forgiven. Impress upon their hearts that they're forgiven. And that, of course, as that strengthens their faith in Jesus, then of course He's the one ultimately protecting them, right?
Right.
The
Awesome.
first thing Pastor King mentioned, I think Pastor King does this better than any other pastor I've ever had. Like Pastor, you've mentioned before that preaching on Sunday is just such a small part of your week as a pastor. And I
Yes.
really appreciated that you would emphasize like the home visits and like the midweek Bible studies. Even when we lived all the way out in the West End, like we did that Bible study at a house basically that was in our neighborhood. And so like I would see you out, just a few blocks away. Um, yeah, I would see you more outside of church than I would on a Sunday morning. And I feel like that's such that's the exact relationship you would want to have with your
Wow.
pastor.
That
Is
that's a very high compliment, Will. Thank you. That was my goal. That was
true.
my goal. I
Yep.
regarded the Sunday morning as sort of what I had to do so that I could do the other stuff.
Mm.
Hmm.
Not that Sunday morning's not important. I'm not saying that. But for me, Sunday morning was the gateway into the, did I just say church was a gateway drug? Yeah, I did. Good thing we're not on our stream.
Yeah.
Sunday morning was sort of the gateway to people to get to know me so that I could spend time with them one on one.
Mm.
Or and I think about the small group Bible studies and things like that. That's the way the disciples were, and you read through the New Testament. That's how they were ministering. They were in people's homes. They were having meetings with small groups of people and things like that. That to me is, just to be a little corny, that's where the rubber hits the road. You have 10 or 12 people in a Bible study in somebody's home. That's just classic Christianity in my mind.